Listen to the audiobook A Midsummer Night's Dream by William Shakespeare, Level B1, Oxford Reading University.
You will find Part 1 in the description and on our channel. Part 2.
Bottom was very surprised by her words. "Lady, I think you don't really have a good reason for loving me. But honestly, love and reason don't go together these days." Titania was completely under the flower's magic. "You have both beauty and intelligence," she said, amazed. "You must stay with me in the forest. I won't let you leave." She immediately called her fairies and ordered them to serve Bottom as if he were a king. Bottom, still unaware of his donkey head, accepted this odd situation calmly. Titania took his hand gently and led him deep into the forest. The flower's magic had convinced her that he was the best man in the world. Chapter 5. Oberon wondered if Titania had woken up and what creature she had fallen in love with. Just then, Puck arrived with the good news. He reported that Titania was now in love with a monster. "My king, some workers were practicing a play in the forest, and I turned one of them into a donkey," he explained. "When Titania woke up, she saw him first, and now she is hopelessly in love with him." Oberon was pleased. He then asked Puck if he had used the magic juice on the Athenian couple. "I did," answered Puck. "I saw a man in Athenian clothes sleeping next to a woman, and put the juice on his eyes." But then, suddenly, Hermia and Demetrius appeared in front of them. "This is the Athenian man that I saw earlier," exclaimed the king. "I saw this woman, but I haven't seen this man," replied Puck, confused. "So, who was the man you used the magic juice on?" asked Oberon angrily. I don't know, my lord. It was some other man," said Puck. He was very embarrassed. Demetrius was trying to declare his love to Hermia, but she refused to listen. She was convinced Demetrius had murdered Lysander. Why else couldn't she find him anywhere? At last she ran away. Demetrius was exhausted, so he lay down and fell asleep. "Find Helena quickly and bring her here," Oberon ordered Puck. "I'll put the juice on Demetrius's eyes, so he falls in love with her too." Helena and Lysander were not far away. Lysander kept telling Helena that he loved her. This made her very upset. She thought Lysander was making fun of her. Puck used his magic to guide Helena close to Demetrius. He woke up, saw Helena, and finally fell in love with her again. "Helena, my goddess, let me kiss you," he exclaimed. Now both men were in love with Helena. This was so sudden that the poor woman thought they were both pretending. "Why are you so mean to me?" she cried. "I know you're both lying." Hermia heard her cry and ran up to them. When she saw that Lysander was making love speeches to Helena, she became very upset. Helena felt embarrassed. She thought that all three of them were playing a cruel joke on her. She believed now that her friend Hermia was also part of the trick. "You all hate me, and now you are all pretending to love me to make fun of me, even Hermia." "You are a horrible friend," Hermia shouted. "You stole my love, my Lysander, while I was sleeping." The argument was getting worse and worse. Now, Lysander and Demetrius both wanted to fight each other for Helena's love. Hermia tried to stop Lysander, but he pushed her away. Eventually, Helena became scared and ran away. The two young men ran after her, shouting at each other. Hermia, miserable and confused, followed them. Oberon saw all this and became worried. "Puck, you must stop them from fighting," he ordered. "And when they fall asleep, put this little plant on Lysander's eyes. It will make him stop loving Helena, and he will come back to Hermia. When they wake up, they will think that everything has been just a strange dream. They will go back to Athens, happily in love, and stay that way forever. While you do that, I will visit Titania. I will ask for the servant boy, and then I will fix the effect of the flower." Puck flew through the forest and used his magic to trick the young men and mess with them. Sometimes he sounded like Lysander calling to Demetrius, sometimes like Demetrius calling to Lysander. He led them in circles through the dark trees till they became completely lost and very tired. One by one, all 4 young people sank to the ground and fell asleep, too exhausted to keep fighting. While they were sleeping, Puck removed the effect of the magic flower from Lysander. "When you wake up," he spoke quietly, "you will love Hermia again, just like before. Everything will go back to normal." Chapter 6. Early in the morning, Titania and Bottom lay in a bed of flowers. "Come to me, my love," she said gently. "Let me put fresh flowers in your lovely hair and kiss your soft fur." Then they both fell into a peaceful sleep. Oberon watched them from behind a large tree. Then he walked up to them and put some herb onto his wife's closed eyes, thinking, "Now I can fix everything and make peace with my queen." "Wake up, my dear queen," Oberon said gently as he broke the love magic. Titania opened her eyes slowly and looked around. Now she could see clearly again. "Oberon, what a horrible dream I had," she exclaimed, frightened. "I dreamed I was in love with a donkey." Oberon smiled and pointed to Bottom, who was still sleeping next to her. Titania turned pale. "Oh no, it wasn't a dream at all," she cried in horror. The king started laughing at her and her failed romance. Then again he demanded that she give him the servant boy. Ashamed of her foolish mistake, the queen agreed. Oberon and Titania kissed and made peace with each other. At that moment, Puck arrived. He quickly removed the donkey head from Bottom, so it wouldn't bother the queen anymore. As the sun rose in the sky, loud music came from the distance. Duke Theseus entered the forest with Hippolyta, Aegeus, and many servants. They were enjoying the beautiful morning. "Listen to the music my dogs make," Theseus said proudly to Hippolyta. "It sounds like a wonderful song." Then he stopped sharply. "Look over there," he called out, pointing ahead of him. "There are some people sleeping on the ground." Aegeus looked closely and saw the 4 familiar young lovers sleeping next to each other in the grass. "This is my daughter Hermia," he exclaimed with great surprise. "And these are the young Demetrius, Lysander, and Helena. What are they doing here together in this forest?" "Wake them up immediately," Theseus told his servants. "I want to hear their explanation for this." The four young people woke up from their long dream, feeling confused, tired, and surprised. "Stand up, all of you," said Theseus. "I know you two, Demetrius and Lysander, were enemies. Why do you lie so peacefully together?" Lysander began to explain first. "Honestly, I can hardly remember how I got here. Before that, I had come to the forest with Hermia. We had intended to run away from Athens to escape the law." "That's enough," protested Aegeus. "He tried to steal my daughter. He risked her safety and planned to take her away from me and Demetrius. If they had stayed in Athens, they might have avoided all this confusion." But then Demetrius spoke calmly. "I will tell you the truth. Helena told me that Hermia and Lysander ran away. I went to search for them, and Helena followed me. But then, by some unknown power, my feelings for Hermia disappeared. My heart has returned to Helena, and I will always love her." Theseus listened carefully and made a decision. "Then, all three couples will marry today. Hippolyta and me, Helena and Demetrius, and Hermia and Lysander. Come with us. We will celebrate together." When everyone left the forest, Bottom finally woke up. He was completely alone. "What an incredible dream I had," he thought, standing up. "I dreamed I had the head of a donkey, and a beautiful fairy queen fell in love with me." Then Bottom walked happily back to Athens, excited to find his friends and tell them about his amazing dream. Chapter 7. At Peter Quince's house in Athens, the men sat together, looking very worried. Bottom had been missing since they had run away from a monster in the forest. "We cannot perform our play without Bottom," Quince said. "In all of Athens you cannot find a man as clever and talented as him." Just then the door opened, and Bottom ran into the room with a big smile on his face. "My dear friends," he cried, "there's no need to be so upset." The men couldn't believe their eyes. "Bottom, you are alive!" they shouted together in surprise. "Where have you been all this time? What happened to you in that forest?" "Oh, my friends, I have the most incredible story to tell you," Bottom said with excitement. "But there's no time for stories right now. We must put on our costumes immediately and head straight to the Duke's palace to perform our play." Chapter 8. After the wedding celebration, Duke Theseus and Hippolyta went to the palace. They exchanged opinions about the curious story of the four young lovers' night in the forest. Theseus expressed his doubts. "Lovers and crazy people have wild imaginations," he said with a smile. "Sometimes they see things that cannot possibly exist in this world, like fairies or magic." But Hippolyta disagreed. "Strangely, all four young people told exactly the same story," she replied. "If they were lying, wouldn't their stories be different?" Then the four young lovers entered the room. Theseus greeted them warmly and wished them happiness. "We can allow ourselves some entertainment before bedtime," he said cheerfully. "What performances can we choose from tonight?" His servant brought him a list of various possible shows. Theseus read through the different options and noticed the play that the simple working men of Athens had prepared. He looked very interested. "I doubt you will like it, my duke," his servant said carefully. "It is very unpleasant to watch. Nothing fits. The actors don't act well. They lack skill and talent. It is supposed to be a sad play, and when I saw them practice, I must say, it made me cry, but from laughing too hard." I still intend to see this play, Theseus answered confidently. No work can be bad if people put in an honest effort. Soon Peter Quince and his friends entered the palace hall. Quince came forward to deliver his speech before the play, but he was so nervous that he just muttered confusedly. Then the play began. The performance was bad in every possible way. The actors frequently forgot their lines and mixed up their words completely. I see a voice. I can hear my Thisbe's face, Bottom shouted. It didn't make any sense, but at least he said it with emotion. Throughout the play, Theseus and the others quietly joked with each other about the actors' mistakes, but they were kind and sat through the rest of the performance patiently. Then the play finally ended, and everybody retired to their bedrooms. Chapter 9. The hall was quiet and empty. Then suddenly Puck appeared, carrying a tiny broom. He started cleaning up the mess from the wedding celebration. Then Oberon and Titania entered the palace together, followed by their fairy servants. The fairy king and queen were at peace again, and they smiled at each other with love. The little fairies sang and danced, filling the palace with light and happiness. Before the morning comes, we will visit every room, announced Oberon. We'll make sure that any child born here will be strong, lucky, and healthy. Every couple here will stay in love forever. Let peace live within these walls.
Send this video to a friend who likes free audiobooks. And now, listen to another awesome English book.